Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider went up to sprout again.
When they say today there's no conspiracy, that's not a lie, it's the truth. They're doing it right out in the open, right under our noses, and we're too stupid to know it, to see it. So it's not a conspiracy now today, at all. It's right out in the open. They even publish their plans. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret beside the Fatal Park. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret, it's a different story. You see, because we didn't have a national security agency or a central intelligence agency before the UN participations were created about the one world. They would not know that it was being done, and the only way they could do that was hide it behind the veil of national. And the Cold War was a manipulation maintained to bleed the people of tax dollars to fund the creation of the police force of the New World Order, which is the Army, Navy, and Air Force and Marines of the United States and the Soviet Union.
They'd get treated for their bad blood. Instead, hundreds of poor black men became participants unknowingly in a shocking and truly shameful chapter of American medical history. In 1932, the United States Public Health Service launched an unethical research project to examine the effects of untreated syphilis. The project was called the Tuskegee Study because it recruited 600 black men living in Tuskegee, Alabama. Researchers told the men that they were being treated for bad blood, a term used locally to describe anything from fatigue to anemia. They promised the men free medical treatment if they participated. While 2/3 of the men in the study were confirmed to have syphilis, not one received proper treatment for the disease they had contracted.
So this was a study in which there was no consent on the part of those who were being studied, also deception on the part of the U.S. government.
When penicillin became the recommended treatment for syphilis in the 1940s, Tuskegee researchers scandalously withheld the drug from the men in the study so that they could continue to chart the course of the disease when untreated. Many patients experienced damage to their vital organs and nervous systems, and for some, the lack of treatment led to death.
A big step toward legalizing marijuana. There is a bill on the table, and local leaders just announced an agreement to make it all happen.
Certain chemicals on it has been bad for people. Now, what this puts me in the mind of the crack epidemic. The government get to fucking with the drugs and shit. We don't know what they can pull whatever. They got all the science.
It triggers inflammation, it disrupts endothelial barriers, it induces fibrin-resistant to breakdown, and it promotes a lot of amyloid aggregates, which is what I research. These effects impair oxygen delivery, damage blood vessels, contribute to clotting pathologies that manifest, which to this day is a huge amount of people. We're talking upwards of 10 to 15 million people in America that are being affected. The Typical symptoms are things like heart racing, brain fog, shortness of breath, and post-exertional malaise. In my clinic, I actually use immunofluorescent microscopy to be able to actually see what's going on in the blood and look for these amyloid aggregates. Some as young as teenagers that are unable to stand. Others are previously active adults suffering small strokes without typical identifiable causes.
Dilated push only sedates effectively at 6 times human dose. Core temperature 106 Fahrenheit, pulse 200 BPM, respiration elevated, PaO2 300% of normal. Pupils fully dilated, non-reactive to light. Extreme reaction to UV exposure. Symptoms and tissue samples confirm subject is infected with KV.
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets, and they think that's a great accomplishment, and they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.